Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for this New Year's live stream. Before we get into everything, I just want to say thank you guys so much for joining me. And I would also encourage you guys to check out the links in the description of this live because you'll be able to see my link tree and all the stuff I have available, as well as what the people above me have, Joseph and ChristX Comics. So go ahead and you guys can introduce yourself. We'll start with Joseph.
Um, Joe Russell. I live in Canada. I'm been a Bible apologist for probably about 15 years now, around there. Um, I like hanging out with people just as a casual conversation as well. So happy New Year, everybody, and God bless.
Hmm.
Man,
You can go ahead, ChristX Comics.
gotcha. And just to acknowledge it, Joseph, it's nice to meet you, man. And it's a blessing to find another brother that loves the word and loves digging into the word and being able to speak the word to other people who don't know or understand. So I think that's powerful. That's absolutely wonderful. And I, of course, my actual name is Kentario, but I go by Christ in Comics on my YouTube platform, and it's Christ X Comics on TikTok. I love to share the gospel, and the medium in which I operate is by sharing the gospel using anime, manga, and comic books. And so my aim in this upcoming year is to continue to do exactly that, but even more so to dive deeper into the word itself when it comes to these topics. That way, people are actually seeking Christ rather than justifying what it is that they're doing. So that's the aim of my platform, and I hope you guys join me on that journey.
Yeah, definitely. I've really enjoyed your content. I love what you do on there. Um, so one of the things I want to talk about, obviously, with the year coming to an end, is what are some of the highs of 2023 that you guys have?
The highs.
Yeah.
Wow. Joseph, you want to take it first?
I I think
Did you
Joseph
freeze? No.
said
Oh man,
these technical issues, bro. It's so
it's
irritating.
getting wild, man. I'll tell you this, man. While I know he's gonna get fixed up, he'll be back. He'll be back.
Yeah.
But what I can tell you about the highs, the biggest high, isn't even social media. It's actually the relationship between me and my daughter. Not to get into the weeds of it, but it's been only me and her for the past 2 years now. And so with those changes, we were kind of put in a position to be forced to get used to each other. Um, and thankfully, it's not because, well, you're the best I can do type thing, but it is genuinely a recognition of the value between the two of us, the recognition of her being my daughter and what it takes to be a father, her recognition of me being a father to her, and what she can expect or trust me with. And then us growing in those areas has been the biggest blessing. And definitely doing this content, meeting new people along the way, getting new opportunities along the way, growing the channel. But above any of that, man, is really seeing people be blessed. And this last thing, though it's not at the bottom in any way, shape, or form, is getting a more revelation of who God is. And in all honesty, those revelations are scaring me in a good way, but they're scaring me. And prayerfully, through more study, I'll be able to clearly articulate these things, maybe even write a book about these topics to be able to share that with the world, because I think the world needs to really see this. It'll transform ministry if I do it right, do it the Lord's way. It'll transform ministry.
Okay, so are you planning on writing a book about what you're learning?
Yes, yes. Would you like me to give you a small synopsis?
Go for it. I'm very intrigued.
Do you know the verse where the verse in which Job's wife was telling him to curse God and die? Can you pull that up?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Yep, just give me 1 minute. That's in the book of
Oh,
Job, right?
yep.
Yeah, I believe that's early on in Job.
Look at that, chapter 6.
Yep, let me share my screen here. How are we looking? Yep, this is chapter 2.
Oh
Job
wow.
2:9 says his wife said to him, "Are you still maintain your integrity? Curse God and die."
Can you pull up the whole chapter real quick?
Yes. Hopefully you guys can see that. Okay.
Read Job's response to her.
Okay. Verse 9 says, his wife said to him, are you still maintaining your integrity? Curse God and die. Job replied, you are talking like a foolish woman. Shall we accept good from God and not trouble? In all this, Job did not sin in what he said.
Gotcha. So when you look at that word trouble, granted, I know everyone's trying to branch out from KJV, but the KJV says evil. Why would I accept the good and not accept the evil from God? And so this journey that I'm on currently, which there are multiple, but this one in particular, is getting that understanding of what it means for God to do evil. Because the scriptures hype it up, we hype it up. Sometimes we exaggerate it, the goodness of God, but there's not a deeper comprehension of what it means for God to do evil. And just as a small token, that I think that is the greatest revelation that we can even grasp when we look back at what was really wrong with Adam and Eve eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, because of the negative impact that we see following them eating from a tree to have that knowledge. Because that means God already knows that. He knows about evil and how to operate within it, and he knows about good and how to operate within it. We as human beings, since the beginning of time, have been trying to figure out how to operate within those parameters, but we've constantly struggled. And I think if we can understand how God functions through evil, we'll also be able to talk to people who say God is evil, he's corrupt, and we'll say, no, God's not evil. Well, if we understand how God functions with evil, we can actually answer that question a lot better.
Mm. Yeah, that's really interesting. I would definitely agree with you there. You also have something like Isaiah, I believe it's 45:7, right, where he says, I create light and darkness. I can pull that up real quick. I do think that I form the light in the darkness. I bring prosperity and create disaster. I, the Lord, do all these things. Yeah, in the KJV, it will say, I make peace and create evil. But there are textual arguments as to why we should not translate it as evil, given that the word there that's translated as disaster, evil, calamity, other things, in this context would basically just mean bad times. So
Right.
so as we see, I think in Job and in other places, um, uh, particularly with like Paul's thorn in the flesh, here, how God punished Israel, right? We see that
Right.
God certainly does create good times and bad times, and as Job said, right, we can have the faith to accept both from him.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, I would definitely, agree with that there. Joseph, I don't know if you caught it or not, but if I asked, what are some of the highs that you guys have gone through for 2023?
Mm,
Can you hear
nothing
us?
comes to mind, really.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you. Comes to mind,
Okay.
really. Because, yeah, nothing really.
I got you. I have a few things. I've done a lot this year in terms of my content. So I'm writing articles now. Uh, I,
Wow.
so I publish on a Christian website. Also in my link tree, go check it out. It's great. I publish on a Christian website called Followers of the Shepherd. Um, actually, Kintario James, the guy that runs it, is a mutual for both of us. So
Really?
so I don't know if you remember him, but
No, the young man. He got Christ with the cross on his back as his profile picture, right?
no, he has a different thing, but I can show you real quick.
I know who I think I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, he got one of your things published. You did a thing where you talked about like Jesus meeting an anime character, and your kind of trend, your what you said in that video got turned into an article on his website. This
You
right,
are kidding me.
yeah, this right here.
Cool.
Do you remember? Do you remember him? I can pull.
No, this isn't familiar to me, but I think this is exactly who I'm thinking of, though. I do think this is him. I'm gonna look this up. I'm gonna
Yeah.
look this up tonight, dude.
Yeah.
What in the world? I have an article and didn't even know it. Are you playing with me right now?
Yeah, I can pull up his TikTok real quick. Share this tab instead. This guy.
Yep, that's him. That's
Yeah,
him. Holy
Okay,
cow.
okay, yeah, yep.
Okay, he recently changed his profile picture. That's why. Okay, yeah, that's him though. Wow.
Yeah. Yep. So
Wow.
I publish on his website now.
Okay, how many articles you got?
So far I have 3. So my first one was I wrote an Old Testament paper for class, my first semester here, talking about suffering in the book of Job. So I edited that paper a little bit and then published it on his website. Excuse me. The second video was I made a video with a friend of mine who's getting her degree in psychology. We teamed up to review an article that was published by Andrew Womack, if you guys know who that is. Yeah, he's been in ministry for I think 50 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, very.
Yeah, I recently learned to avoid anything from Andrew Womack. So, anyways.
Oh no, that's fair. No, you should.
Okay. Oh wait, I got to know the why. We can't just skip that. I need to know the why.
That's valid. That's valid. So, we responded to his article because he made an article arguing that Christianity and psychology are in disagreement with each other, and like psychology is based on paganism and some other really bad stuff. You should go check out the video. Obviously, I'm big about getting Christians to understand psychology because a lot of people don't know how to approach that issue.
The word that we have in English, the word we have in English, the word soul, comes from the Latin and Greek word psyche.
Yeah, we talked about
Go ahead, Joseph.
Which is also tied with the word spirit in a sense. But the word soul is more tied with your mind, and God gave you a mind that is not produced by the chemicals and electricity in your brain, but your mind itself is His construct that causes your brain to spark in the neurons, and that causes your mouth to speak and your hands to move. And there's always been a philosophical conflict and discussion for thousands of years on what is true in regards to the psyche. Is it supernatural spirit, or is it or are we literally just gray matter with neurons? And so it's causation versus correlation.
Yeah,
that's a major argument.
Yeah,
Joseph, we need to talk more, my man. Joseph, Izzy, we need to talk more. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
The connections that I've made.
Each other, or are they?
Oh, Joseph, your audio is messing up.
Yeah, his connection is a bit weak. Is he in a soft spot? Is he at home in a soft spot?
No.
Oh, there you are.
I'm on.
Now you're lagging now.
Weird. No, I'm on Ethernet, and I have like super fast internet.
Okay, it's back now. I don't know what was happening. Sorry.
You're about to make me get all charismatic on here. The devil don't want him to say what he got to say. The devil don't want him to tell the truth. That's
it might be my NordVPN, but if I turn my VPN off, it would probably disconnect me and I'd come back in. So
gotcha.
That's my VPN. So, anyways, I was saying that.
Can I ask something?
How much?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
I think y'all will find this not interesting, but I think y'all can add to it. To make a long story short, I asked a question on my Facebook and separate on TikTok of, well, why didn't the devil kill Job's wife? Like, he killed the children, he killed the servants, he killed the cattle. Why not kill the wife? Now, of course, we know on the surface it's because he wanted to use her in a different way. Sure, but there's several other speculations to go with that. And so one person was responding by speaking on the individuality between the wife and Job and how they were treated. But the same thing that came up in that conversation was even in being separate entities, they both were one due to their marriage. And then we got into the spirit realm or operations of the spirit being separate from flesh, but the influence of the spirit on the flesh and vice versa. And I think there's something there with what Joseph was saying in regards to that, you know, understanding that relationship between how the spirit may influence the function of the flesh and how something from functions of the flesh may impact the spirit. For example, if I'm allowed to say this, you tell me if I can't, but too much masturbation results in those chemicals being released, right? Thus leading to a dependency on the chemical release. But if you're trying to be spiritually disciplined, but you're overcome by that chemical release, then your spirit man is being afflicted because of an addiction to that release. So you have the natural function of the body afflicting or affecting the spirit man in a negative way. But what do y'all think on that?
Well, well, yeah, in majority of cases, yes, that is absolutely true. But if a person is disciplined in their walk with Christ and their faith in Christ first, before that takes effect on them, then, as Paul writes in Romans chapter 7, that it is a conflict that will never end. But yeah, you're absolutely right though. But that's true for literally almost any drug or alcohol or anything that anything that your brain takes needs to have a release, a euphoric release of endorphins.
Yes.
I was trying to remember the word I was thinking. The endorphins. So anything that releases your endorphins, because if you could train your own self psychologically through self-hypnotism or false stimulation to
like a
convince
placebo,
yourself
yeah.
Like placebo effect, like this, you can convince yourself something negative to everybody else causes you happiness, and that happiness does release endorphins. But drugs and sex releases it in an instant, whereas it takes a long time for a person to train themselves or be trained to release those endorphins through some sort of other psychological means.
Right.
So it's not necessarily through drug and physical stimulation, but you're right.
And I love how you sorry, Izzy, did you have something you wanted to say?
Yeah, no, I just want to say that I would agree with the idea that the physical affects the spiritual, right? And there's certainly a connection between the two that I would think runs deeper than many people might want to think. Not just with ourselves individual, but I just mean like spiritual beings and um, the physical material things as well. But I don't know because again, caring about right what the text is explicitly telling us or even implicitly telling us. I don't know. I haven't done enough research on Job to know this or not, but I don't know if the text indicates any Satan using the adversary using his wife in any way.
Well,
No,
not to say. Go ahead, Joe.
Sorry. One can do a study on the region that Job was in. Was it Uz, whatever, or
The land of
whatever,
Uz, yeah, something like
that. Yeah. Because I keep on getting his land confused with Abraham's land.
Oh, yeah,
So
no, that's fair.
It's like which one? Anyways, yeah, Uz.
Don't forget your ruby red slippers, okay?
So if someone wants to do a study on 15th century Iranian ancient cultures and their empires, what was the pre-Babylonian or mid-Babylonian surrounding empires, and what were their practice of when they would come in and ravage a city or township, and if they would destroy servants and children, like you would kill the offspring so that they can't their lineage does not continue, but leave the wife alive as a insult to the husband if he's away himself. Then they might have left her away. I'm not. This is again,
Interesting. Whoa.
But it's possible that a culture might, at that time in the 15th century BC, might have left her alive as a witness to tell her king or tell her husband, but they would have killed his children as to say you can't reproduce and your lineage will not continue.
Wow, Joseph.
Yeah, it could be.
High five, man.
Yeah,
you just gave me more fruit, bro. Like I'm eating. But
that
like,
so, that's one of the things to do in hermeneutics in general. You need that historical context because it's going to inform your interpretation. To be fair, this is getting into the weeds, so we don't have to get into this, and I'm not educated enough about it to know one way or the other. But not everyone has a. Some people date the Book of Job very late, and some people date it pretty early. So
yeah.
Obviously, the date is also going to change the cultural and historical context. But if we can date it to the 15th, 14th century, then that would be interesting and good context to work with for your interpretation.
Like some people date Moses' writing, his earliest writings was to some date that to late 15th century to 14th century, but others would actually concrete him to what is the most likely pharaoh at the time, and they have actually eliminated Ramesses II from being the pharaoh of the Exodus because he would have been too late and he didn't have any historic affiliations with the Jews. He had none of what was written in the Bible even remotely happened in the time of Ramesses. But they have come close to a candidate, Amenhotep III.
The third, yeah.
But the last thing they can't confirm with him is whether he ever had a firstborn son that was killed or what was that, because he did have a child that took over after him.
Well, with what Joseph, with what some of what you were saying, I'm not saying it makes it valid, but it kind of adds to it. As you'll notice in one of Job's responses, he does say something similar to people coming in and doing something similar like that, ravaging a city, killing all of the children and things like that, but nothing bad happens to those people, thus disproving karma. And so he does already kind of say something along those lines. But one thing I will say, because Izzy was talking about it, he's like, it doesn't say that the devil directly influenced her. But one of the things that we can say is where God told Satan not to touch him. If we believe the standard of marriage that God has given, and he's having a spiritual conversation, he said, and him telling, don't touch Job. Job and his wife are one flesh, so she is technically off limits in the physical afflicting sense. But not only that, she's witnessing everything that Job was going through. So in her witnessing that, she's just like, hey, I've seen this guy be faithful to God and be blessed. So why is he suffering? She's seeing her children lose their lives and her husband suffering, where her husband has been so faithful. So why is my husband suffering? And I would argue that even in just causing that affliction, he stirred the response from the wife. He didn't have to touch the wife to cause her to react in the stereotypical way people like to argue women behave. And her coming to her husband with that mindset, my husband, who's been such a good man, is afflicted. It's better for you to just curse God and die. But Job did opposite of Adam and putting his wife in her place. That didn't mean he had to get rid of his wife, dismiss his wife, or get a new wife, but he stayed faithful, and she stayed with him in staying faithful, resulting in her being the one to reproduce that life, where for several other people, according to Joseph with his research and studies, that they don't normally come back from that. They don't think I can have a double portion of children. My lineage is done. Job got something other people weren't getting. More children, more wealth. All of
one might look at the fact that his friends were alive and say, "Hey, it was more of a personal attack." But we can't use that either, because his friends might have been travelers. They might have been in a, and, you know, they might have been from a neighboring land that wasn't touched. So, you know, yeah, we can't really give a deduction of what, why, and where, and who.
Yeah.
But so yeah, my first one, like I said, I made some edits and I posted it arguing or discussing how the Book of Job deals with suffering.
Okay.
The second one I posted, like I said, was I took the script that I made for that video responding to Andrew Womack, and I reshaped it into an article that I could publish and get people to go check out the video, because there's more content in the video than there is in the article. And then the third article that I published was probably arguably the most fun, but also the most difficult. So in my biblical interpretation class this semester, the final exam was our exegetical paper, and then a mock sermon that we gave based upon the passage that we chose to exegete for the paper. So, but that paper, I made some final edits, reshaped it a little bit, and then posted it to the followstheshepherd.org website. So if anyone is interested, if you go to the website, which is again in my link tree in the description, and you search Leviticus 25, Job, or Andrew Womack, you'll find my articles. One of them is, again, a exegesis of Leviticus 25. The original paper, double space, was like 14 pages long. So
wow, man.
Hopefully that works out. It has so far. So yeah, Andrew, if you search Andrew Womack, you'll find my article talking about Christianity and psychology. And if you look up, or if you search Job, then you'll find my paper discussing his the suffering as presented in that book. But yeah, so I've been able to do that. I don't know if you guys have heard of Medium.
No.
No,
Sounds demonic.
not as a
I can't. Fair. So, so Medium is a kind of like a social media for bloggers. So you can sign up for free and start writing on the platform, and yeah, so people can follow you. They can comment on your articles and other stuff. So I'm also going to be writing articles there. I've published 2 already, which is, one's just introducing me, and another one is a review of a movie I watched recently. So you guys can check that out there.
Wow.
I haven't been to the theater for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I wouldn't have went at all if I hadn't. One of my friends took me to go see a movie with him and his group, but that's not the movie I'm reviewing. That was the Blue Beetle.
I was about to say, what is this secret movie you won't say the name of? Like why are you keeping it hidden from us?
I'm gonna guess it's Godzilla minus 1.
See. Now, don't get me wrong. The other 2 Godzilla movies, minus Kong, so many biblical references. It's not even funny. So many.
I liked everything of the Godzilla. The legendary Godzilla, apparently, is what they're calling him now.
Oh, okay.
The one that's 200 feet tall. That's what they're calling him now.
Oh,
wow.
Gotcha.
I like that.
Yeah. No.
I'll read that now. I'll read that.
Yeah. But so to be fair, content warning, because the movie's rated R, and I promise you it's for a very, very, very good reason.
Well,
I watch that stuff. I don't know about anybody else who's watching this stream or y'all. I know at Christ Like Thomas, you've seen Berserk, so I know that you're
dude.
You don't care very much.
No, okay. Let me clarify. I gotta clarify, because I don't want people to misunderstand. I don't advocate for rated R content, but I do advocate for deep content, and some deep content might be rated R. I kind of already had to speak to that even with horror movies for Christians. I would not tell Christians to watch horror movies, but Jason and Freddy Krueger are very deep narratives on the sick nature of humanity, which is in part what results in these people or these monsters becoming monsters in the first place. And so, I mean, there's depth to dark things, but we don't all
Mhm.
have to watch dark things, you know? Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For that kind of content, I haven't watched it yet, but I've been kind of wanting to watch it.
Agreed.
What's his name? What was it? Matt something. He played multiple personality dissociative disorder man. Split.
Oh, Split. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I didn't.
And
The
I
guy.
watched it,
yeah,
but
yeah. Apparently, he's also a part of the same universe as Unbreakable
Glass. Yep.
and Mr. Glass.
yeah.
That was a weird.
I haven't watched it
That
yet,
was
but
a weird
I've heard
thing.
it. And then they came out with the movie Glass, which was essentially all three of them.
Yeah, Split was good. Um, it does not represent.
Psychological.
It does not represent the disorder that the main character is supposed to have accurately. Which
interesting.
you might say, well, yeah, it's Hollywood. It's not going to represent mental illness accurately. But that's not always true. You do have stuff like Rain Man, which did a very good job portraying someone who had a high degree of autism. Like that was.
Yeah, I remember watching that movie. I don't remember him being dissociative disorder though.
No, it wasn't. It's a different thing. But I was just saying that Hollywood has in the past
Oh,
represented mental illness well. It's just that
yeah.
Split with the disorder that the character has does not. Yeah, go ahead.
What's up?
I gotta ask it. And that's with me not fully even knowing what Joseph believes. But at what point does mental illness become demonic?
Yeah.
Not the way Greg Locke defines it.
Yeah, that's not the way Greg Locke explains it. Definitely not.
Oh
Or
god.
Isaiah Salvador, for that matter. My goodness.
Mhm.
I'm actually going to make a response to him.
Oh man, I swayed off about Isaiah and Greg Locke. The whole Demon Slayer core, I kind of swayed
Yeah.
off of them. I was like, oh gosh, guys.
I love
It's called Deliverance Ministry. That's what
We're
Now,
calling
don't get me wrong. I believe in deliverance ministry, but I think the function of deliverance ministry, one, isn't as frequent, and two, is very narrow. Like
yeah.
all the people saying it, definitely not casting out no spirits.
Yeah. So that's something I've been trying to think through for a while. There needs to be a relationship between Christianity and psychology, and a lot of that is
Agreed.
you do have Christian psychologists, you have Christian psychology. I have a older handbook like on Christian psychology. I think it's the second edition or something. I don't think they're going to come out with another one, but so that sort of thing is being done. Where demons fit into that, I don't know. We know that there are Roman Catholics who are exorcists, and we know that the church has attempted to work with psychologists to figure out, can we mark this off as a demonic event and let the church take care of it, or is this a mental disorder and you
That's good.
psychologist take it? Because that is extremely important. You don't get a COVID shot for a common cold, right?
No, speak on it. Go ahead, man.
You don't take ibuprofen for autism, right?
Speak on it, man.
So you have to put things. So you have to have the right things to take care of certain things for people. There was one scene. Louisa Watts is the psychologist or the person who is getting her degree in psychology that I was talking about earlier. I did a couple of videos with her now. She liked the one part of the Apostle Paul movie where Paul sends Luke out to go somewhere, and they make it look like Luke is going to perform in healing, but he doesn't. He's just a doctor to them. So he performs, sort of medicinal aid rather than divine aid, which is very fascinating, but shows that Christianity, I think, is very compatible with things that attempt to heal and restore outside of divine intervention, which is why we've always had hospitals and why we've helped do that, why we build orphanages, et cetera, et cetera. So to me, psychology is a part of that.
Yep.
And I want to bring those two together. But like I said, how demons fit in, I'm not sure. I
Mhm.
I they don't I don't think they fit in with depression in most cases. They don't fit in with religious trauma. They don't fit in with anxiety or any sort of trauma for that matter. They don't fit in with anxiety and anxiety disorders. Um, I don't think schizophrenia has anything to do with demonic activity. However, there have been some who, even psychologists, who have proposed that theory uh,
Mhm.
and attempted to get aid from the church in that regard. But that can be very scary because if you're not careful, people with schizophrenia will start having religious hallucinations, and they are genuine hallucinations. Nothing's
Yeah.
actually happening. So you have to be very careful about that because you will end up hurting the person more if you misdiagnose them with demons rather than something therapy can take care of.
Yeah, like actually, when I was watching your stream when you had your colleague, and she was very well. I liked listening to her, but even like when she couldn't really, like, she wasn't permitting herself, rather, not like it's incapable, but she wasn't really able to, like, with her profession and her experience, able to answer that question herself, but she wanted to. Um, she said that there are people in psychology who have that expertise and have had dealings, and one of them, she said she couldn't remember his name, and I brought him up. His name is Dr. Richard Gallagher. And if anybody who's interested in or is involved in this, in a delivery ministry, I'll call it hyper delivery ministry, like Greg Locke's and Isaiah's, um, watch or read his books first
Mhm.
before you get involved or start pointing fingers or suspecting and accusing people of, a sneeze and a cough and a hiccup and a burp, and you cuss. That's not Tourette's. You've got to watch and or read
Uh-huh.
his information first, because he's been doing this for a good 30 years or more, and he's been one of the worldwide people that the priests call, even non-priests call on him
Right.
to come across the world to help them with like he did like he actually said that he didn't know what he was getting into,
Uh-huh.
why these priests were calling on him, except that they had read his material on dealing with people in his office who had unexplainable, non-categorical psychological bouts about them, but he started connecting that this is supernatural, and they called him up to be involved with um, parapsychology and possessions.
Yeah.
And he said he could, and after a while it essentially beat him down that he couldn't deny it anymore. These were more than psychological. These were more than some substance abuse. These were more than traumatic experiences that have been resurfaced. This goes beyond that to him. And he says that most of them can be accredited to the classic substance abuse or trauma or a malfunction in the brain, but he has logged many and too many.
Yeah.
So again, that name is Dr. Richard Gallagher. And so
Yeah.
I say that because anybody who might be watching now or later might be bringing up Russell Crowe's movie he came out with this year, The Pope's Exorcist. And if you watch that, anybody who watches that or wants to watch that, at least give Gallagher a go through first before you start watching this, because Russell Crowe has been known. I think he's a Roman Catholic, but he's more typecasted for being more into historical roles and being able to portray them properly rather than being involved with historically or scientifically accurate stories.
Right.
So
Right.
watch experts before you get into Hollywood.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah. That's fair.
Definitely.
That's fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely wanted to, so that takes me to and that's if I'm not taking too much from you, Izzy. I don't want to interrupt your flow if you have an order you want to keep. Don't let me interrupt it.
Um, you're good. We can talk about this for a minute, and then I'll at some point I'll stop you guys and ask kind of about the lows of 2023 if there are any, and then what you
Got you.
are hoping for in 2024. So yeah.
Well, so I'm recalling. I don't know the verse, but there's an instance in which Paul is articulating, not saying that there'll no longer be a need for miracles or healings or deliverances, but that it will come to a point of being less and less. And again, I'm paraphrasing. I'm not quoting the verse accurately. And I think that is the big thing that has become a struggle is uh, a concern that as we advance scientifically, psychologically, medicinally, that people are striving away from God. But I think it's a misinterpretation of it being more of an and both. There's going to be times where a healing and a miracle needs to take place, but then there's going to be a time in which someone's just going to need medicinal needs and be taken care of. I pray that our church even gets to the point. Sure, we can perform a deliverance. We can lay hands and heal the sick, but we need to have a doctor's office in the back room as well in case someone busts their head open. So
Right.
I think that's one of the biggest things. It's not to say no longer do miracles, cessationists, or it's to say like we're lacking in miracles with the charismatic. But I think it's having that balance of God's operation. We got to move that sensitively. Even with ministry, God don't want us to speak to everybody we come into contact with. Some people we just got to sit quiet and not say anything. So even in that aspect, we have to move sensitively. The same thing happens with miracles versus psychology or medicine. Uh-oh.
Actually, you can even read that in the Bible with Jesus and Jesus himself. Some people that he healed, like the lepers, the 3 lepers, only one of them came back, but he told all 3 of them, go and wash in. I don't know if it was. I can't remember if it was Siloam or not.
Yep.
And he said, then go and report and present yourself to the priests. But and someone was like, why are you bringing that up? This is an example of exemplifying miracles.
Yep.
Yes. But Jesus also told 2 different people. One was the father of the little girl who had fallen ill and had died, but Jesus called it sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And he told the father, go and make sure you tell nobody. So here's Jesus keeping it under wraps for a reason. We don't know what that reason was, but the same with the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is not God Almighty in one container of a man. The Holy Spirit is the indwelling of the Holy Spirit and the actions of the Almighty upon the entire globe, those who will receive him. And the Holy Spirit knows who won't receive him in a certain setting in the future that we don't.
Right.
So Christians are some of the worst critics of the Holy Spirit. Why isn't he working here tonight? When we asked for him, we all came together and we laid hands on our brother or sister, and they're not getting better right now when we commanded it in the name of Jesus.
Joseph, it's worse than that. It's worse than that. It's your fault that when I laid hands on you that you weren't healed.
Yeah, because you don't have the faith necessary to be healed from your cancer or your depression.
Yeah.
I was my friend was in a hyper charismatic cult for a while, and I it was actually a cult. Like it wasn't. I'm not just saying that. Like they wanted her. They were like, well, your friend Isaiah has a religious spirit. Maybe you should stop talking to him. Hey, why don't you come live with us, with Christians, instead of your parents who are not Bible believers? So they were actually a cult. But yeah, she was exorcised multiple times because she had major depressive disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, and she ended up getting a new extremely rare disease that caused tumors to form on her body, and temporary memory, like short. Well, I don't know if it's short or long term, but it does affect the brain such that there is a small amount of memory loss at times and some other things. So she got that disease, and they were, she got told that Satan has a contract on her life, and yeah, all sorts of things where obviously none of that was true. And yeah, so she was in that cycle
Jesus
oh,
Christ. Lord.
I want to be healed. God always wants to heal people.
Of course.
So if he's not, then it must be my fault. Never mind. God might be saying no. Never the idea of God saying no, the idea of God actually wants you to suffer at times. Uh, the idea that God is saying not now, later. Other things are just foreign concepts to this particular group I'm talking about. Uh,
Well,
they
yeah,
had
for
nothing
sure.
to say about the thorn in Paul's flesh, for example. If that
Mm.
means you anything.
I only just recently heard that was some weird idea from the deliverance ministry, thinking that the thorn in Paul's flesh was him being partially possessed, and I'm like,
That's not what that says.
What?
that's not
I've
what that says.
never heard this interpretation
Yeah,
before. Holy cow,
I've
they're
never heard of that.
wild.
I never heard that until a few days ago. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah,
That's him dealing with the temptations of his flesh that won't leave him alone, and he is constantly in prayer with the Lord to take it from him. And he says, even he says that the Lord will not, for this thorn must remain. It's like,
Right.
so he has to deal with it. But they're looking at like, no, Paul is dealing with some sort.
yeah.
Now, can you, if you could, Joseph or Izzy, clarify this, because my studies pointed me to this with that affliction, because in the Old Testament, that's what God did to the Israelites when they started mistreating their servants. He told them, "I'm gonna make them a thorn in your flesh," and so I understood that to be reminding him of his carnality, that you're still a human being, not in a negative sense, but of your flesh can afflict you still. More of a reminder, not necessarily. I didn't look at that as temptation, so it might be one and the same. I might be overthinking it, but I looked at more of the reminding him of his vulnerabilities as a human. You're not so high up. It keeps him from being prideful in another way.
So we're told that what he got because of the pride that could come about from the revelations that he had.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not crazy.
I think either one of your views would fit well, but the point is that God is caring about character more than he is caring about your physical health, in at least for Paul in this moment, which I think is really important. So, and this relates to one of the highs, my highs of 2023, is that I became a virtue ethicist.
Yeah,
And,
yeah. So
Christian virtue ethicist.
when it comes to them thinking that God wants you to suffer rather than, and as opposed to need you to suffer, and even that's too harsh for God, because that God doesn't really need you to suffer, as though as though he needs to kick you down. But as Paul himself, I think it was, said, that he is made great in my weakness. He is made strong in my weakness when I am weak. And it's like, so it's not because it's not because you are already weak, nor is it that God is glorifying only because he's putting you down, but that he will be glorified by those around you who see that your faith is unshaken.
Yeah.
That's where they lose sight.
Yeah. So as a virtue ethicist, I would say that the goal of life is to be a person of excellent moral character. And suffering then under this framework of the goal of life is not a problem. It's not in the sense that it's bad. It's a means to an end, because suffering
There you go.
builds virtuous character. So this is different than our culture sees pain and suffering, because we are in a hedonistic culture, and under hedonism, generally speaking, under a hedonistic ethical theory, the goal is to maximize pleasure and to minimize pain. So it sees pain as a problem fundamentally that needs to be fixed. And while I do think that healings will happen, pain will be removed, right, and that sort of thing in the end of all things, as of now, suffering is not the problem. Pain isn't necessarily the problem. It's the fact that we don't know how to suffer and deal with pain well,
Right.
such that we can build character in the end. And I would also agree with philosophers that there are virtues that would only come about through suffering and pain, such as forgiveness. Forgiveness is a great virtue, but it can only be demonstrated if there's wrong to forgive, uh,
Mm.
and other things as well. So, but that's entirely missed in a lot of charismatic places because they see suffering and obviously they take pity and empathy as they should, and then God is always seen as the immediate fix, barring what God wills in that situation, or they think He always wills for people to be healed, and then barring, of course, the possibility that they misdiagnose the situation and they need a doctor or a therapist and not the exorcist. So
Hey
yeah.
guys, I gotta drive and go get my daughter. I can stay on while driving. That'll be fine. That way I can at least stay on for the portion for the next part. Is that cool?
Yeah, as long as you can drive responsibly and not crash.
Definitely. I wear glasses for a reason. Come on.
Okay. If I see your fingers on the phone, I'm gonna say something.
If you hear me, if you don't hear me talking and you hear a crash, that's when you should be worried.
I mean, yeah, like back in the '80s, and when TVs and the TVs in the car were starting to become a thing, or even phones were becoming a thing back in the '60s. That was a distraction. It could take even for a second to take your eyes off the road for even a second. That's all it takes is not like people. It's like, I'll be good for that 1 second. Yeah, but it's not you.
That's all it takes.
Your hands might not move. Your memory might remember the next 500 feet ahead of you and the cars and their arrangement. But that person who's coming up behind you could step on the pedal and come and slam into you. You're not paying attention to them.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. So I think this would be a good time to transition. So, what would you guys consider to be the lows of 2023? We talked about some of the highs. For me, it's the content. Like I said, I started writing articles. I've expanded a lot of that. There's other highs too that's happened throughout the year. Um, and then for Christ X Comics, it was the relationship with your daughter. It was some of your biblical studies. Was there anything? It was also your content as well. Was there anything else you want to talk about in terms of the highs of 2023 before we move on?
Oh, we lost him.
Oof. Oh, wait, hold on. I got him.
There you go.
Did you
Turn off
hear
the
it?
Wi-Fi.
Okay, can you hear us okay?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, if there's anything else you want to talk about in regards to the highs of 2023, then we can.
No more highs to speak to on my end.
I got you. Okay. So, what were some of the lows of 2023 for you guys? Oh, crap.
I don't know if it's true, but we learned a trick back in the '90s for pop that we think has been shooken, and you put your thumb to the tab at the top before you open it and push down.
I might need to do that.
But I did that once or twice, and it didn't work, and I still got a face full of it.
Oh.
So,
well, at least you tried.
Anyways,
so yeah, is there any lows for you, Kentaro, or you, Joseph, of 2023?
Personally, I wouldn't really call it a low, but I don't like surgery, even though I've been through many surgeries. I had surgery since back in September, but I'm still here.
No, that's good. We're glad you made it through it, man.
100%.
Yeah, are you all right? Like, are you?
The thing is, he wants to do another one.
Okay.
Same surgery, but on the other half of my heart.
Oh God.
Scary.
Hey, you give me something to pray for, Joseph. So I'm gonna pray for you tonight, man.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I've had 3 heart surgeries. Two of them were open heart, and the last one was through my thigh. So, anyways.
Ooh. Okay.
But theologically, I've learned a lot, but I think I only just joined Jim Green's network, the
The cross media.
cross media. I think that was this year when I just joined you guys. So that's more of a positive on my half.
Okay.
Because up until I don't know, I've been part of the Knights of God with Desmond since 2020.
Mm.
That's pretty cool.
But Desmond is he's been going through some stuff. So, but he's actually tomorrow tomorrow night he's going to be live with his first official his first official live stream tomorrow, and I'm going to be with him if he doesn't postpone it again.
No, man. I hope you guys can do that. That's pretty cool.
Anyways, as far as lows, I've learned a lot through error, mistakes. But unlike a lot of prideful Christians, I've learned to push aside my pride and learn through my pride and learn that I need, people who are correcting me, I learn, okay, so I need to improve on that and apologize and actually add that to my Christian vocabulary. So there's been a few instances of that this year, so I don't really hold a grudge anybody. But I joined 2 Mormon versus Christianity groups in Facebook in the last few years, and I've learned a lot of what they believe all through. Through my recent inward reflection of how I learn, which is I learn through other people's mistakes. Mostly, like I learn through my own mistakes, but mostly through other people's mistakes. And when somebody misspeaks in regards to the Bible, or they lie about the Bible, or blaspheme God, I will investigate. I investigate every aspect of what they claimed sounds fishy in regards to history and Bible and what is common knowledge with the majority of preachers. And so I've learned a lot against Mormonism and oneness, and against Unitarians and against Arians, and it's been fun. How about you?
Cool. Yeah. What about you? What are some of your lows of 2023, if you have any?
My lows, good Lord, man. So I don't know if y'all know. I think Izzy knew, but 2022, February of 2022, my wife left me for another man, and so overcoming that has been truly a struggle. Just even thinking of the word, it kind of correlates to this, but I won't go too deep in the weeds of that. Well, no, I will go in the weeds of that. So if you recall, with the blind man, they asked Jesus, whose fault is it that this man was born blind? And of course, his response was that it's not about whose fault it is, but it's about, the glory of God. But with the separation and still working on the divorce, I got into that hole of whose fault is it? Why? What trauma caused this? What bad decisions did I make? Why did I make those bad decisions? Where did that come from? And I stayed in that hole of trying to identify the root cause, blaming my family, blaming the church, being mad at her, being mad at myself. And then I finally realized that's not going to end if I keep digging. And then that's kind of the biggest thing. And I realized that because y'all were bringing up the miracles of Jesus before. But I realized that was the issue that Jesus was nullifying and saying, whose fault is it? Because now, you have no idea how deep that hole goes if you want to try and point fingers. And so that's the biggest thing, is getting over that was really, 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 really hard. Dealing with my finances in response to that was also very difficult because I went from, of course, trying to be the best husband for my wife to trying to be the best dad for my daughter. And where she expressed what her dreams were, I wanted to do everything to make that happen. And I made several wrong decisions in that process. And so it's not to say like I failed my daughter, but You know, you make mistakes along the way in trying to be a father to a 19-year-old child who's finally listening to you. And so I made several financial unwise decisions, and my work ethic suffered for it, and all of those other things. And so those are some of my biggest downfalls from this past year.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's fair. That's yeah. You guys have definitely given all three of us something to pray for sure.
Well, actually, I could add to mine since we're getting that deep. To some degree, I cut my ties with my sister back around February, March.
Ties with your sister, you said?
Yeah, my um,
Oh wow.
she's got bipolar and schizophrenia, and
Mm.
it's caused her, I don't know, because I can't say it's like people want to say that it goes hand in hand with being a chronic liar. I don't believe that, but she believes these illusions that she has in her mind, that she plays all these scenarios in her mind, and then she comes back at me as though claiming lies that I know were untrue because I'm the only other participant in a previous engagement that we had that she's lying against, as though there's. And so so I actually went and copied and pasted this text conversation that we had after this audible conversation we had, and showed it to her, and she called me a liar, and it's right there in text on screenshots. And so that's it. Don't talk to me ever again unless you are in an emergency in a hospital or if the cops are taking you away. Don't talk to me. And so I'm a Christian, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure the Lord would have us not have to pray for them. But I'm going to say that I'm not going to. It's a major problem for me to have any Christian or somebody who claims to be a Christian say, "No, you endure with her and you love her." It's like, I'm not going to listen to someone who's lying to you about literally what you ate for dinner yesterday. And it's like, no, I didn't eat that. I didn't go out of the house to eat that. You're lying, and that's every day that you ever talk to this person. They're lying about what you did, said, thought, or said to her. I'm not.
Yeah,
That's exhausting. Oh my goodness.
I'm not sure how to talk. Like Christians want to say, well, you love her and you keep on going back to her and you embrace her and forgive her. Again, you don't keep on going in front of the executioner's axe just so that hope that he lays it down. You don't.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. No, that's understandable. I wouldn't know, es- especially if someone is bipolar and schizophrenic. Obviously, they're you can imagine, of course, that their understanding of reality, whatever that even is going to be different. So yeah, I would. You're not a therapist. You're not a person's Superman, right? So you can't swoop down and fix all their issues. So if and her behavior
Mhm.
probably spawns from that, and so unless there's therapy and some other aid, then yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
what you
Yeah.
could do beside
My heart goes out to you though. I forgot your name already.
me.
No,
It's
Car-
Oh,
Kintario.
Kitaria.
Cantario.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you, Joseph.
that name sounds like something from an '80s anime.
Loki.
It does. That's an awesome name. I like it.
Thank you, man. Straight out of Hawaii.
Awesome.
Nice.
But
Oh
yeah, no,
yeah.
my heart goes out to you, brother. I can't imagine what you're going through, and I'm not about to be able to sympathize with you.
Hey man, thank you. But here's what I'll say. And the only reason it's coming out that way is because of just the alignment of the question, not that it is a current issue.
Hmm.
I give glory and honor unto the Lord for bringing me out,
Hmm.
because he's provided me one with a father and mother who weren't going to give up. He's provided me with a church family that when I'm at my lowest, they show up. It's not like they will, they have shown up. When I was in a car accident and because I didn't pay my insurance, they showed up. They got me out of lockup. They
Oh,
paid for everything to get me a
wow.
new car.
Wow.
Like I've had people have my back. My wife is, well, she's currently my wife. We're getting divorced still. She's back in the picture,
Hmm.
trying to spend time with her daughter,
Hmm.
but I'm over her. I am at peace
Are you
with her
sharing?
being in my home.
Are you sharing
And
custody, or is it sole?
so her all three children are hers. I married into three. And so only the 19-year-old lives with us, the oldest. But she left her daughter and me to go be with this man. And so
Okay.
she's trying to do rehab and get well. But she wants to spend time with her daughter in the process. And as long as my daughter's okay with it, I'm okay with it. And
Okay.
so I
Being
let her
19,
spend time
being
with her
19,
mother.
that's fully her choice. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the other
So
kids, I guess your other kids are younger.
the other kids are younger with their respective fathers as well.
Oh, okay.
Not to get too deep in the weeds, but I might be taking in another kid. She's 17, but she's been through hell herself. So
Mm,
Yeah.
depending on what happens with her dad, she'll probably be coming to stay with me.
Well, Godspeed. Babe.
Eventually.
Godspeed.
Hey, I'm telling
Yeah.
you.
Definitely praying about all that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Mine
Yeah.
probably aren't that deep. um, there was some, uh, like I would say probably depression, anxiety, and loneliness have kind of been constant things. So I've definitely had that this year, but well, yeah, I guess the year as a whole, yeah, because I forget this is 12 months, not the last three, but um, but I've gotten better with all of that. So I am in a far
Amen.
better position with
Mhm.
my content, with my spiritual life, with my mental health, much better position than I was with
Mhm.
all that last year.
Mhm.
So I on again, this is more of an up, but I just hit 800 followers plus on TikTok.
Praise
So
God, man.
I'm going up there. Yeah. So
Although most of TikTok is weirdo wackos, but
that's fair. No,
you take it. You take what you can get.
I'm trying to be one of the good ones. Okay.
Right. It's like I'm not gonna cross that line to grow on a platform. There's
Yeah.
just lines you don't cross.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But yeah. So um,
I'm gonna help you in that area too, by the way, Izzy. We're gonna work together on that.
yeah, I would. Yeah, I would love to. That'd be great. But yeah, so it's been that's sort of been the thing, and then some like situations that have grown out from that. But yeah, no, overall, I've always been a more glass half full kind of guy. Usually,
Mm.
always have been a more optimistic person. Depression doesn't look good on anyone, but especially not on an optimist, an extroverted one at that like me. So, so,
Say that, my brother.
but
Almost sounded like Mario with there. Woohoo!
yeah.
Come on, chill. Don't chill, guys. Come on. That's the joke they made. It's me, Cantario. Don't do me like that.
I didn't know that. Sorry. I did. Oh, no offense.
um, but yeah, no. So, but overall, I think it's been really good. So I'm definitely
Okay.
excited about 2024. And so, with that said, what are you guys looking forward to with 2024? I know for me, it's definitely, um, becoming a virtue ethicist and kind of leaning into that has been very helpful to me and has helped me grow as a person and helped me fill out certain things. Um, so I'm looking forward to continuing on that. I'm writing actually an article about that. So, excuse me. Hopefully that continues on. Like I said, the growth of my content, it's been amazing. What um, um, with God's help that I have been able to do. So I'm praying and hoping that the content, all of it,
Oh, I
is.
do have one question for you in regards to your content.
Yeah. What's up?
These psychologists and other and Christian teachers that you've been critically reviewing in your short videos, have any of them reached out to you after the fact, or?
Uh, um, do you mean just the people I respond to, or anyone I've attempted to interact with?
Well, the ones that you've officially posted on like Facebook and TikTok and whatever.
Okay,
Like,
because
like anybody in particular you would think of that.
um, Yeah, so obviously I make a lot of response videos to different people.
Okay.
I've had a couple respond. One guy, this was so funny. One guy claimed that not only is the Book of Enoch true,
Yeah.
um, and thus the Nephilim giants, happened, but also that the spirits of the giants are demons, as the Book of Enoch claims. But he claimed that those demons are lust, anger, and anxiety.
Oh,
So I, so I
Pandora,
made
Pandora's box kind of thing.
You
yeah,
stressing me.
so
Yeah, the Book
so
of
I made a
Enoch is a
two-part
weak spot for
response.
me. God.
I made a two-part response to him, and responding to the claim about lust, anger, and anxiety, and then responding to this whole idea of the Book of Enoch being inspired at all.
Mhm.
And we don't have to get into the weeds of that. Go check out my videos; it's great stuff. But he commented, doubling down on everything.
Mhm.
That's
Uh,
what they always do.
there was a this was not a response to me, but it was a response to the situation I had commented on. Where I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but there was a Christian
Mhm.
on TikTok who is an apologist and a rapper, and he claimed that he would marry a 15-year-old girl. So yeah, and so
What?
he tried to use the Bible and gaslight and other things in order to back it up. So I made multiple
Oh,
videos on that situation,
no.
and he doubled down on that. He, like I said, didn't respond to me specifically, but he made a response video to the situation and just gaslit, doubled down,
Mhm.
scapegoated. No, you're the problem because you're attacking a man of God.
Mhm.
Oh, no. He,
And
he
all
wouldn't
these
be an
other things.
apologist then, in my opinion.
I
Yeah,
mean, I mean,
he's
even if,
saying the wrong thing. I'll tell you that.
I mean, even if the majority of the world were under Jewish Mosaic laws, and not current uh, individual local laws, the majority of the world today's local laws, or even common international laws. But the Bible would say, well, I can't remember which one of the apostles writes in the Bible that we are to adhere and obey the authorities that we are under. So,
Yep.
Yeah,
and so I can't remember which one of the apostles said that or whether it was Jesus, but it's like that right there proves to him, like, even though they were doing it back in those days, the Romans were not able to, or the Greeks, or whoever, they were not absolutely the governing body against the
Hmm.
Jews. As the times of the occupation of the Romans, they actually also said that the Jews were under the law of their king Herod.
Yep.
So if Herod had no law of age of minority, then sure. But we do have a common international uh, community of laws that say that it has to be 18 or older. The
yeah.
majority of,
And
like, there's a few countries out there are like there's wishy-washy, there's
no,
whatever.
yeah,
Hey
yeah.
guys,
Go
hey
ahead.
guys, I do apologize, but I have to go. Okay.
Oh,
Yep, no problem, man. Do what you gotta do, bro. I thank you
Absolutely.
so much for joining.
It's my pleasure.
yeah,
Izzy, hit me up so we can talk about some things. Joseph, I
Yep.
need your contacts.
okay.
We need to talk more, brother.
I'm not sure how to give those contacts to you, but I'll
If you guys have a Facebook, I can just get you
That'll
guys
work.
yeah,
connected.
yeah.
That's cool.
Well then, yeah,
That'll work. I got a Facebook.
Cool,
yeah.
cool, cool.
And you
All
can,
right.
you can yeah, you can connect us then. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, guys. I love y'all. Keep it up, though. Keep it up.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So that right there,
Well, there's other issues besides the law,
yeah.
because the fact of the matter is that
Mhm.
these marriages are extremely harmful and dangerous to, specifically to the woman.
Mhm.
It the effects that it has on the males, if anything, is not
Mhm.
nearly as bad as the potential consequence it has on the female.
Mhm.
Yeah, he also said marriage with a 9-year-old could be okay, and yeah, it was
Is he recovering
issues,
Muslim or something?
huh?
Is he a recovering Muslim or something?
No, no. Not at all.
I just had to ask. I had to ask.
Yeah, I don't know. But like I said, under if I'm under being under a virtue ethical framework, I'm going to argue that it's wrong, and it doesn't really matter what the law says because of
Mhm.
the harm that it causes, and
Right.
thus it's not demonstrating virtue; it's demonstrating vice
Mhm.
because you're not engaging in a loving act,
Right.
given what we know now about how it harms them.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So that was the whole thing.
I mean,
So
it is believed that Mary herself was between the age of 14 and 16, but nobody can say yes, it was 14, yes, it was 16. So, but she was young. But that's not a exception to the rule that people can go and run with either. So go ahead.
even if she was a child,
Mhm.
hermeneutics makes a distinction between descriptive and prescriptive events.
Mhm. And
So
I'm pretty sure they knew the risks.
yeah, yeah.
So
So just because a culture does something and the biblical text mentions that does not make it okay for us.
right,
There's yeah.
right.
But anyway, yeah. So he responded to that whole situation.
Okay.
I had an atheist comment on one of my apologetics videos. He was also kind of deflecting, I think
Mhm.
would be the good word. Um, he, I presented scholarship and some other things,
Mhm.
and some commentary, and he just said, "Oh, you're trying to be Dan McCullen?" Oh. I was like, "Okay, bro." Definitely not. But yeah, and there were some other things. So I've had some people respond, um, but I would probably say the majority of the time I respond to someone, they
Mhm.
don't see it,
Okay.
which I'm not really upset about. I do it more. I tag
No.
the creator because if there's a
Mhm.
chance they'll see it,
Mhm.
but they're often bigger creators.
Mhm.
So, even someone with 2,000 followers is going to get tagged and stuff all the time.
Mhm.
So I don't expect them to see my tag and,
Yep.
see the,
Well,
his,
that's the right thing. That's the right approach. Even if you get nobody seeing your video, you do it anyways for teaching purposes, regardless,
right.
or future material for yourself later on.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. So, yeah, that's probably what I'd say. But yeah, so I'm excited about the future of the content, where that's gonna go. Um, excited about what I can do as a person to become a better individual. I've built some great relationships and friendships here on campus, and I would love to continue to maintain those and build those as well. So yeah,
mhm.
I think I have a lot to look forward to
Yeah.
in 2024. So what about you? What are you looking forward to?
Hopefully, I can actually hold to my convictions, but I've already started collecting content so that I want to get back into making videos because I've been on hiatus for 4 years. Like my last video on YouTube was from 4 years ago. Well, my first official video because there's a few videos recently because I've been on other people's streams, but my last official video was probably about 4 years ago. So I want to actually start getting back into it because uh, there's been so many things I've watched on Facebook, read on Facebook, and been involved with and conversed and set straight on Facebook and elsewhere, and been with you and Jim and Desmond. And I'm learning so much that it's not I'm not learning because of you guys. It's not because like, oh, I can quote you and Jim and they say it's right, therefore it's right. I'm not going like that. I am so strictly Bible headed that if it's not from the Bible, then it is subjective and eisegetical, and it's of a it's and if it's an opinion, then I have to check it. So my coming, well, it's not. I can't really say it's a resolution as they call it, which is a weird word to call it resolution, but I'll call it a resolution. But I'm not actually resolving to do it. But I want to start making videos again. And like I said, I've got I just went down yesterday. I downloaded the free version of DaVinci, which is a
Oh yeah.
because I used to use Pinnacle Pro. That used to be my thing, but it costs hundreds of dollars for that software. And the last time I checked, they don't. That's it has it they have some great unique options in Pinnacle, but for last time I used it, they were falling behind. So I'm hoping I'm collecting stock videos, stock photos that I can use in videos,
Hmm.
and
Gotcha.
I already have Audacity somewhere,
Okay.
so I can record and
Gotcha. Okay. No, that's cool. Yeah, I have a lot of content um, that
Mhm,
I'll be coming out with.
mhm.
I have I'm in 2024. I plan on publishing a video talking about what faith is.
Oh,
Um, I plan on publishing my third biblical slavery video, talking about what the nature of the Mosaic Law as sort of a background
oh,
to the fourth video, which is going to be slavery in the Mosaic Law.
oh.
um, I'm going to be hopefully doing live streams and stuff with other people. I want to do one with Exploring Reality. Um, I forget his name. My apologies, but he's a really cool, really good Christian content creator on YouTube, um,
What was it?
TikTok.
What was his screen name again? Exploring
Exploring Reality
Reality. Okay.
makes for some really good stuff. So I want to do something with him. I want to interview my professors.
Hmm.
So I did a series about the Book of Enoch with Dr. Philip Long, who wrote a easy to read commentary on it. He's a professor here at my university, so I talked to him about that. But I want to interview, I also interviewed Dr. Matt Levering, who is a philosopher and ethicist, and saying he's a virtue ethicist. So I had him on a live stream to talk about divine command theory, Christian hedonism, and Christian virtue ethics. Um, so I had that on there. Oh, hi, that's my brother commenting. Um, yeah, thanks for coming out. But yeah, so I have all that coming out. Um, I want to finish my reaction to a horror game that I was reacting to. Um,
There's a lot of those now.
yeah, it was SCP Containment Breach. It's a really good game.
No, I've watched people playing it. It's not my cup of tea.
That's fair. That's fair. But I enjoyed it, so I was reacting to it.
Some of the monsters in the early versions looked so lame. I'm like, why would you?
That's fair. That's fair.
But
The
I
updated,
watched a video a few months ago of the recent revamping of SCP, and their monsters actually look better. They more look, like they look like they almost look like something from a movie,
yeah,
rather than polygonal shapes and
yeah,
and stick figures that float around with a smiley face. And I'm like, what?
yeah.
But now they actually look like, oh, that's a dog, and that's an octopus thing, and that's a Cthulhu, that's a shadow creature coming for you. That thing is a mummy or something like that. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, yep. So I'm excited about that. And yeah, I have some other plans too. I'm actually coming up with some plans for Black History Month because
Oh,
I made a series for Black History Month last year, and I plan on doing so again. So that's gonna be pretty fun. Yeah. So
I like watching Thomas Sowell and how he lays the facts down in
mm,
the common misconceptions of general public today and what they believe and have not been taught in regards to history.
yeah.
And it's just such an eye opener.
Mm,
So
gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. So uh, going to be doing videos on that as well. And a few other things. So yeah, gonna have a lot of fun in 2024. The way that I've thankfully have been able to expand the content and all that stuff has been great. I'm excited for that. And hopefully, and another thing, going to the gym. I have been going to the gym a lot lately, and that's why I was like moving my arm around and stuff earlier because I feel it.
you're
But
gonna regret that in the morning.
right, right. But it's been so much fun to. I go with a friend of mine who also works out a lot.
That's good.
That's been really fun. So hopefully
Yeah.
continuing that. Yeah, yeah. So definitely a lot to look forward to. Um,
Hmm.
so we talked about highs, lows, 2023. What we're looking forward to in 2024. Um, in terms of like New Year's year stuff, is there anything else that you want to talk about or bring up?
No, not really.
I got you. Okay. Yeah, I think that's about it for me. I'm pretty excited about the year.
Oh,
Uh,
I think there's a question in the.
oh yeah. Have you seen that Eastern Orthodox trend, "Death to the World"? I have not.
No, I know that
Out of context, that sounds scary.
I've been
I
told
don't know what that is.
I've been told the Russian Eastern Orthodox are actually pretty well almost a death cult. They're going after non-Eastern Orthodox Christians and for the last decade now,
Oh,
assaulting them or even killing them.
I
Like,
did not
yeah,
know
I
that.
didn't know that until a friend of mine told me because he lives in the Ukraine, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what?
Scary. I
Mm,
did not know that.
no.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Um,
how do you call yourself Christian if you're hounding people because they don't believe in what you believe in regards to the Bible? And I'm like,
yeah. You gotta be.
he proved it to me with headlines on the and video news videos, and I'm like, well, there you have it.
Yeah, yeah. You
People
gotta be compassionate
like
and
he actually showed interviews with Ukrainians who were actually saying that these Eastern Orthodox are coming to try to kill them. They're being done. I'm like, so it's not just hearsay. It's just this is scary. But no, I've not heard of death to the world though. No.
yeah. I haven't heard of that either. I'm curious because I'm mutuals with some
Hmm.
with Eastern Orthodox and Catholic Christians,
Hmm.
and I'm interested in helping the dialogues between Protestants, Catholics, and
Hmm.
Orthodox. Might be a hot take. You can disagree with me. That's okay. I understand. I get it. But I find them to be branches of the one church.
Hmm.
All three.
Oh,
Um,
heads up! Some Eastern Orthodox believe that only they have the dogmatic claim and right to speak or write the name Trinity. So if you mention Trinity to a Eastern Orthodox, they might want to spiritually hang you
oh, that's interesting.
because only they have the Trinity. And if you call yourself a Protestant, they apparently, well, at least the one that digitally lynched me on Facebook. I told him I was a Protestant, and they look at all Protestants as all being Lutherans. So if you're not a Lutheran, that might be a possibility too. So
Oh, interesting.
I
Yeah,
didn't.
there's some good ones out there. I'm in a Discord um, chat with a combination of the three. It's been a really fun time. Yeah, it's pretty much the idea that the unrest in the world is caused from a distance from God. Oh, interesting. Yeah, they definitely have a lot to say about the relationship with God and stuff like that, given
Yeah.
their essence, energies, distinction, and how all of that works.
Okay.
Uh, I mean, yeah, I would agree to some extent. Obviously, having a relationship with God does not mean that you won't make mistakes, you won't sin, that sort of thing. But
I
yeah,
mean, my personal eschatology is pre-trib rapture, and but I'm not afraid to say that, but I'm also not about to get into a fight with anybody about it. But this is in my opinion, from what my eschatological view is that all of this chaos is coming because he who restrains is about to
let go.
release.
Mhm.
So you are seeing a great amount of what people you are looking for in regards to an apostasy and a falling away, as though the world is going to go to all Islam or all atheism. No, apostasy meaning that you are forsaking the written word of God and the Messiah. It doesn't mean that you're falling away from the Roman Catholic Church. It doesn't mean you're falling away from it. It
Yeah,
just means that you're looking for that one person who will scratch your itching ear. So we are seeing a lot of that around the world. So
gotcha. Yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, But yeah, I'm definitely interested in having those discussions between Protestants, Catholics, and
Yeah.
Orthodox Christians. So yeah, no, I will, Kevin. I will definitely
Mhm.
look into that. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, so if anyone has anything in the live chat they want to say or talk about highs and lows of 2023 or what they look forward to this year, then
Yeah.
we can totally talk about that. Otherwise, I think I'm pretty much good.
Mhm.
Um, and
It's
yeah, I'll be,
almost 10:30, so it's a good time to
yeah,
finish up too.
yep. And I'm like I said, I'm pretty excited for the new year. So yeah, if you guys have anything else, or if you have anything else, then
Yeah.
go ahead and leave a comment, or you can mention it. But otherwise, we'll be good to go.
Yeah, if you want to reach me, sorry, if you want to follow me, I'm Remy Canadian on YouTube, and when we get back into the fix of things, I'll be co-host to Desmond Knights of God. That's also his channel. Not I think I can't remember if it's just Knights of God or the Knights of God, but you can find his channel also on YouTube. So, and he's got a lot of good content and a lot of good debates on his channel and conversations and yeah.
That's good. Yeah, send me the links to all of that, and I will put it in the I
Oh,
will put it in the
yeah.
description of the video. You don't have to send it like right now, but like yeah, just message me on Facebook, and I'll put them in the description of this YouTube video.
Hmm.
Oh, and Facebook video because we're streaming to Facebook too. But yeah, so I think I'm good. I think the chat's good. So we can go ahead and close out. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this. I can't wait for 2024. So definitely stick around, check out all of the stuff that I mentioned in the description of the video, and hopefully you guys can stick around as this new year approaches. So thank you so much for joining me, and just Joseph, if you don't have anything to say, I will close out. We can end. All right, see you guys. Thank you so much.